Boom.
Yay!
Whoa. How's it going, everybody? Welcome to
Hello.
another one of our Vagabond Dog Industry Chats. This week's guest, Ben Rausch of Team Lazerbeam. How are you doing, my dear old friend?
I'm doing swell, thank you. Thank you so much for having me on the show. This is such a nice opportunity to hang out.
No, yeah, likewise. Thank you for coming on, especially because you have a game coming out. How many days left?
Less, less than a week,
Less.
6 days and something
Let me
hours.
just ratchet up that anxiety for you.
Terrifying. Yeah. No, this is such a nice excuse to not be feeling like I have to make stuff or check stuff off a list or something.
Yeah.
So thank you for giving me a nice reason to relax and chill for a bit.
No, that's
Because I think from here out it's going to be pretty wild.
yeah, and you'll be talking with way more important people than me all the time. It'll be it's I gotta get you now before the game comes out, and you just you don't have time for me anymore. I know how that goes.
Are you a low-level streaming boss?
Oh yeah, we're like we're just starting. Channel's only like a couple months old. We're still rolling in a little bit. It's not too
Yeah,
bad.
yeah.
Um,
It's
that's
very new for me as well, even being on the internet talking about stuff.
talking about stuff. So let's talk about stuff then.
Let's
Uh,
talk.
the my chat I have run the trailer a couple times for them and
Cool.
done my best to explain the Team Laserbeam vibe, but
Yeah.
can you summarize the
Yes.
epicness of Teenage Blob for them real quick?
Let me try. So, Teenage Blob is a product of the game band Team Lazerbeam and the music band The Super Weeks. Team Lazerbeam is my game band who makes really short, small, single-serving video games with a kind of rough, punky aesthetic and sensibility. And after creating a set of these really short little games, we've now decided to do a split release. So it's basically like 6 of those short little games packaged with 6 songs that our friends the Super Weeks made. Uh, so it's like a split album, except half the album is games, and all of the games are combined into one bigger game, which also combines in all the songs.
Right. And I just threw some of the Super Weeks on in the background right now.
Cool.
Empress says that after I've cut my hair. Oh yeah, you haven't seen me with my cut hair. I've cut my hair. That I don't look as cool as you
No,
anymore.
it's quite a change.
Yeah,
Like a metamorphosis.
that's what happens when you
Yeah.
ship a game. You have to cut all your hair off. Is this one you don't buy into that?
Oh, no. Oh my gosh. I'm
can't
going to lose a lot of hair.
No, you can't get rid of it. You got to keep yours. Um, so it's a game. You are a game band.
We're a game band, yes.
What does that mean?
So it's basically the same as a music band in that it's a group of friends who've teamed up to combine their talents to make something rad. But where a music band is sort of focused on like creating or performing songs, we're focused on creating video games.
Okay. And what is a music band?
Music band is a group of friends, or hopefully friends, a group of people who team up to combine their shared talents and create something awesome together.
Right. Which is usually music. Okay. So
Oh yeah. Well, in a music form, yes.
right. Okay. So Teenage
Yeah.
Blob is you've called it a split release, which is one part game, one part album.
Exactly.
How did this come about, and like, what has the process been?
So
Start with how did it come about? How did you decide
how did it come about? Yeah.
that you were gonna do this new it's a pretty new concept. I haven't seen. I've heard,
it is a new concept. It confuses people, understandably, which is part of why we think it's fun, because that's sort of what we do at Team Laserbeam as well, as confuse people. So this is definitely a nice opportunity to like kind of challenge people's idea of how music and video games could be consumed, in a way, I guess. So the like process or the like backstory is the Super Weeks are kind of like a core songwriting production like musical powerhouse duo, Evan and Chris, and they created a side project band called The Weeks as like alongside playing in a bunch of other bands. They were like, we'll make The Weeks and we'll just like write and record a song a week with whoever happens to be in town, and just had like a rotating cast of friends that would like play on their recordings, like in and out, and kind of jump, you know, in and out of the band. And Mike Bell is one of the extended Super Weeks family. He has a band as well called Mike Bell and the Movies, who are great. And Mike and I were chatting about doing something together and wanted to do like a music video or something.
Mm-hmm.
And then at some point he was just like, oh no, actually we should just team up on a game. And then Mike started playing like full-time bass for a stretch with the Super Weeks. They did like a tour of Europe and stuff. I think Mike was in the band for that stretch. Anyway, and yeah, we just kind of got talking on this idea of like, if we were to do 6 tracks as Team Lazerbeam and they were to do 6 tracks, they were already working on the songs. So the songs existed before the conception of Teenage Blob as well. Some of the songs are actually really old, like a couple years and stuff that they were in the making. And yeah, just kind of like all came together after the passing away of Evan from the Super Weeks, his brother Corey, who was also like the original or bassist of the band. And after Corey passed away, this was kind of like a way of like, you know, still just like putting all this stuff out and keeping going and stuff. We've obviously delayed the process by spending 3 years on making a video game.
No, it happens.
It slightly derailed things, and stuff hasn't really worked out the way it was planned as well, because in the original plan, the band was going to tour the split once it was done. So
Right.
they were going to line up a whole tour and like, you know, be playing shows and selling this thing that, you know, you buy the record, you get the games with it. That's not happening now.
I
But
mean, the world will return to normal eventually.
the world will return, and by then they will know the words to all the songs, so it'll be good.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So then give me a sense of like, is this are you having timed levels that are like in step
Yeah.
with a song?
Yeah. So it was the whole Teenage Blob came together as like a combination of different sort of threads of stuff that we were interested in and playing around with, and one of the main ones was like edits in game, which
Okay.
is something like that we've been like really interested in for a long time, because you know it's so like integral in cinema and stuff. It's like editing is core, right? But with games, it doesn't seem like it's really used to like much of its full potential a lot of the time. It tends to be like just having unexpected cuts is like such a surprising thing in games. It's like you're so used to, as the player, driving the story forward. You don't have that sense of the story pulling you forward. And yeah, that's something that like with Team Lazerbeam, we kind of prototyped a couple different ideas of stuff that revolved around that idea of like throwing the player into unexpected situations at unexpected times. And then this just ended up being a super cool opportunity to do that synchronized to the music. So to be able to like have these moments of like, you know, whether regardless of what point the player is at within that like mini game, they're suddenly thrust into the next thing and the next thing and the next thing.
Right. Like song hits crescendo, like it's gonna hit
Yeah.
this beat
Yeah,
of the
yeah,
game
yeah,
right
yeah.
now. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
The best is in the like Tony Dork, which is the like side-scrolling skateboarding game.
Okay.
There's like a big, huge guitar solo thing there where you like ramp over a huge pit in the middle of the city. Yeah, it works out super nicely. I'm really stoked with it.
Right. It's very interesting for me to hear about, because like I'm so used to building games that have like as much player variance and control, and like you know, really I'm at the whim of the player as the designer. Like I've got to make every possible no available. Meanwhile, you know, I find that at the same time, like we had to put a disclaimer at the front of our game, because there's so much freedom of choice that like people were like, well, I don't know what to do now. You know, it doesn't guide them at all. And so I can really see the appeal of a game that like, it's like, no, we're creating this emotional, you know, we were watching this line of your hype and playing off of that very well. Apart from Tony Dork, where in the game do you think it like really does that well, or is there anything like you're super proud of in terms of the synchronicity?
The other good one is New Year, which some people might have seen because we had a demo for that in the Steam Games Festival and Bit Summit Festival and Amaze. So some people might have played that one. That's like also that's the Paperboy game, and like there's just there's like a really good chill moment that's like just really pretty in the song, and the way that it like syncs up with the game really makes me feel like it's like channeling the way that I felt when I was in Philadelphia, like, you know, walking down like, you know, like pretty park with like sunlight dancing through the leaves and stuff. Not that any of this necessarily comes through in the game because it just looks like a bunch of garbage swimming around, but like that's totally what I was like trying to channel. And I think the effect of it at least is pretty cool with like with the edits. And so it's intercutting between Paperboy, like an Excite Bike kind of like flippy thing, which in my mind was like when you're on like a break. You're not like delivering sandwiches and you're just like fucking around.
Right.
Like all of the jog games, we wanted to have elements of that, of like where you're like, you know, off the clock. And there's no like objective or points or anything. It's like in the skateboarding one, actually, it lands up costing you money how many hot dogs you eat over your break. Like kind of encourages you to eat as many as you can. Yeah, that I don't know how people are going to take that kind of thing. There's a lot of that as well, where it's like it's like the game's telling you not to do something, but the way we've designed the game, we really want you to do it. Like feed the dogs. Right. Your boss is like, don't feed those like dogs wandering around the streets, and you're like, feed the dogs. It's way more fun this way.
Right. I mean, and that, I guess, touches on that like teenage rebellion kind of vibe. Yeah. Like, you know, like that life often is telling you, don't do the thing you want to do, and you just want to do it anyway, right? I mean, it's. I mean, none of us are teenagers anymore. How was getting in touch with like that element? Yeah.
So that's totally another like thread that had been like Team Lazerbeaming along for a while, and Rich and I had spoken about this a lot. We were like, why do we have this like we made this game called Megadork, which I think was probably the first big like start of this, which was like it was a top-down RPG with super simple art, and we really wanted it to be about like simulating a sense of like a feeling of a space through the sound more than anything. We never put it out, but we should have finished it, and it was a cute little game. But like it was really satisfying, like writing a teenage character for me, like this character with like very small view of the world as well, and where like every event and everything that could happen was like a really big deal. Rich and I have spoken about it a bunch of like why is there this, but I think in popular culture it's also totally a thing. It's such a like pivotal time in people's lives, and you always feel everything like most intensely when you're a teen.
Right.
It's like, you know, even if shit is like comparatively speaking that you're dealing with not a big deal at all, it seems like the hugest deal, and every moment is just like, you know. So with Teenage Blob, it was cool again not cool, but I guess natural in some way that we gravitated towards this idea of like a teen kid trying to get to a show, which is basically the story of Megadork again.
Right.
We just remade Megadork with tons of graphics and skateboarding.
That's a good strategy. But do you? I mean, not to put on the spot, but like, you said you had conversations about like, why are we making games about teenagers, right?
Yeah.
Have you ever craved to make a more mature title, or is it not interesting?
I don't know.
Grown up problems can be dull, I guess.
Yeah, but it's like for us, like Team Lazerbeam for me is totally like trying to walk this really strange tightrope between being like super playful and silly and not taking ourselves seriously, but also being like deathly serious, you know? So I think there is like, even in, I don't know, it's probably a stretch for people to, I don't know really what people like make of our stuff, but like, I like that idea of being able to make something that's about being a kid, but also says something about being an adult as well.
Right.
Like, you know, there's a lot of like ourselves in what we do, I think this whole game, in a way, is very much a product of someone who was a teenager in the 90s. It's not like a teenager nowadays would be able to make a game like Teenage Blob. They would make some other amazing game, but like this game is very much a product of like, for me, having, grown up, and you can hear in the Super Weeks music as well, there's definitely it's like become this bygone era of like, when Weezer was like a chart-topping band and stuff, like that seems so far removed now from where we are. And I think there's definitely like a sense of nostalgia that comes through in that stuff. But yeah, in terms of like wanting to do stuff that with more mature themes, I mean, we've made games with ice cream cones, going on dates, dating wrestlers. It's all pretty juvenile and playful, I guess. But yeah, we do like have some ambitions for it.
How do you think the youths of today are going to interpret the game or like receive it?
I would love to know. I don't know. I feel like there's definitely going to be some rad kids out there who are really into like 90s pop culture and stuff, the same way that I was a kid that was like super into like 70s stuff, which is like before I was even around, but I was like painting Pink Floyd on my suitcase and stuff. So I'm pretty sure that there's a ton of rad, like, 15-year-olds out there that are just discovering Nerf Herder and Weezer and the Super Weeks maybe. But I've totally wondered about like, what are people going to make of this? I mean, I suppose I wonder what all sorts of people are going to make of it, but like, what are other teens going to make out of it? Like teenagers are just going to be like this weird thing made by these old people. Or they're going to think it's cool. I don't know. It's super interesting to put it out there and see what's going to happen. Like our previous games, we've never made a big deal out of anything we've already released in the past. Like I made a poster for Snow Cones 2 and a poster for Wrestling with Emotions, and that was like it, So this is such a big jump for us now, like putting something out seriously like this.
Yeah, this is I mean, as far as like digital games go, like it is a big deal. You guys have a pretty impressive special edition that I've seen.
Yeah. So the special edition, the special edition is actually just the digital edition with a zine and expanded soundtrack and stuff. Then there's a limited edition which comes on vinyl.
Yes.
And so that's then the vinyl and the songs and the digital content and stuff. And then the ultimate edition is the record, all of that stuff, hot sauce, a bottle of hot sauce made by Evan from the Super Weeks, who makes amazing sauce under the name Week Sauce. And your choice of one of 3 t-shirts and a printed version of the zine.
That's a lot. That's like to go from barely having any promotional material to
we're pressing a record
to competing with Ubisoft for the number of special edition releases. Very impressive. But I think
the first game available in hot sauce.
No, that did catch my eye. It's impressive, and I think it is deserved at this point in time. I mean, you guys have been working together for how long now?
So Team Lazerbeam, we've been making games together for going on 6 years now.
Right. Since
2014, and this Teenage Blob has been in the works since May 2017. So it's like 3+ years. And as I say, the songs are even older. But 3+ years of making this weird thing, mostly over weekends and like nights, evenings, and stuff. But now the last like 3 or 4 months, like Rich and I have been at it like full time.
But I mean, I mean, you guys have released a handful of small games together. 4 or 5 at this stage? Was it
6, I think.
6, okay.
Yeah. 6 and some less good ones that we won't talk about. But 6 proper ones where we were like, this is like in our mind like a track,
Right.
Dude, I gotta dash. I'll be right back. Sorry.
Yeah, sure.
I'm
no
so
problem.
sorry. My cat needs to be let in.
Oh, okay. That's. I was really worried, gang. I thought that was a fire for a second. I was really, really worried that Ben's house was about to burn down. And feel free, gang, if you've got questions. Oh, kitty cat. if you guys have questions for Ben, feel free to let him loose in the chat.
Cool. Sorry, he's also a gamer.
Okay.
And one of his favorite games is to come to the front door and to ask to be let in.
Oh.
He does it like 3 or 4 times a night.
He's a
So
comboy.
I had to. Yeah. Sure is. Okay, I'm so sorry about that.
No, it's okay. We were all worried it was a fire.
Oh, no. Just a Kit Kat.
Hold on. I'm gonna dig up the Steam link just so everybody can have a quick look. If people want
cool,
the special editions, where do they go?
So those are only going to go like live on our launch day,
Okay.
which is the 13th, which is next week Thursday, and it'll be through our itch and the Super Weeks Bandcamp.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
Assume superweeks.bandcamp.com.
something like that. Let me grab it for you.
Hold on. Let me make sure people have links.
Thanks.
No, I got that wrong. The Super Weeks. There we go.
You got it?
Yeah, I got it.
Okay, cool.
There we go. And if you like the music that you're hearing now, it's also on that Bandcamp. And you're itch.io/Team Lazerbeam.
Maybe, I think so.
Hold on.
Yeah, teamlaserbeam.itch.io.
There we go. Bam. Right. Yeah, guys. Oh, good. Nap. Good adding up the wish list. Yeah.
Thank you.
So let's see. Where were we before? Oh, right. You guys have released a bunch of small games together, but I mean, it's been impressive. Restraint. Like, I'm always like, Jesus, I put so much work into this thing. Like, you better be sure I'm gonna push it to the most of my like marketing ability and like try and like get it out there and sell my products like a good capitalist. How what is it about Teenage Blob that made you guys want to change things up and like really put it out there as a product?
Yeah. Oh, dude, it's such a crazy question because it's like that was not the plan at all.
Okay.
You know, like with the concept and stuff, we never sat down going like, cool, let's like spend 3 years on this thing and like make like a huge production out of it, and it's gonna, like, for me personally, this is kind of like the most significant thing I've ever made is this Teenage Blob, which is quite weird, but like I've never spent 3 years of my life on another project, like one thing.
Right.
But like, yeah, the idea really, we were like, cool, if we can jam out a game like over a weekend or something, it's like 6 weekends, we'll be like done within like, 2 months. And the older Team Lazerbeam games we really did try to embrace that sort of like really loose, immediate, messy like wildness. But like over time have started becoming more and more like precious about trying to make our messy craziness good, I guess. Not just messy craziness that sucks. And with this game, especially because it's the first time we've done like action games. It's the first Team Lazerbeam game that has shooting. You can shoot sandwiches at people. Like, we've never done something where you can shoot before.
High tech.
And there's a jump. We've never had a jump before. So this is like a big like change for us as well, in just like the goal of what we're trying to do. It's pretty easy to quickly churn together a game that's like primarily like tech, something like Wrestling with Emotions. We could do that pretty quick, but like, and it felt good, like there's still a lot of game feel to work into a system like that, but it's relatively more straightforward versus something like making skateboarding, in a frog suit and high-fiving people feel satisfying.
So then, was it just a matter of like, well, we're at the 2-year mark.
Yeah,
we gotta turn this into a big release now, or what happened?
Yeah, right. Sorry, I totally didn't answer that. So we were just going to drop the game on itch. We were like, cool, we're done with it now, and this is last year at some point. We were just going to self-publish it, and we're like all prepared to just drop a demo on itch, and we're going to put the game out like a month later. And we showed it off at like a Cape Town community meetup. And a friend of ours was like, on seeing it, he was like, don't just put this out there, like send it to some people. Like if you just like play your hand with what you're working on, like you're losing so many potential opportunities for, you know, getting this onto different platforms or whatever. We're like, what? He's like, no, people will dig this. So sort of followed his advice and tried looking at like, cool, what's a good record label for a video game band? Which is a weird question given the current state of games publishers. There's not very many that have a very kind of, you know, punk attitude about stuff.
Right.
So we landed up with a short list of people though that we were like, these people are really cool and we could see ourselves working with them. And one of them was Super Hot Presents. And we kind of just approached them more being like, we're looking for mentors and people that can help us figure out how to do this thing, you know?
Right.
They were like, well, we can't really like promise to do anything much like that, but we can give you some money if you want to make it better. So we're like, oh, okay, cool. that would be great. And yeah, then got some mentorship as well from the lovely people at Pop Agenda. Okay. And they gave us some like just really good. They pretty much just like set us on our way of in terms of for localization and stuff like that, like what we would, you know, should need to do to get this game out to like a wider audience and make a bit more of a big deal out of it. But it does feel super weird because it's totally not like the horse that you would bet on. It's not like, oh, this is going to be a smash hit, like indie rock punk game hybrid release that like never follows the same genre, like, you know, never repeats the same thing.
Level
really.
to level.
It's not. It's not. But like we've also, as I say, we've worked on it for over 3 years. But in evenings over that time, I got married as well. Like you know, like things happen. Like we've also needed that time to kind of like for the thing to like develop into like what it is. But we weren't working like day after day, you know, for 3 years on this crazy thing.
Yeah, well,
it's just sort of played out that way, and yeah.
And I mean, it's pretty hard to survive especially having not made a huge deal out of like not knocking itch or anything, but it's not the biggest moneymaker in the world, right? Like surviving day to day while you're working on a project, you know, it takes more time than people realize because life is there. You know, there's family, there's you know, existing. There's all kinds of crap. So I mean, hey, don't knock yourself on 3 years. I took 6. So
yeah, I think what you made is slightly more elaborate than our half-hour game where you can only do one thing.
It's got half as much heart. Don't worry.
But yeah, I mean, it feels really great that like now this is the first time for me that I'm working full time on one of my games.
Right on.
It's like 36 years old and I'm like finally like really waking up every morning and being like, yes, I get to like scribble a bunch of crazy lightning bolts today. Amazing. So that's really cool. And we're really optimistic with Team Lazerbeam. Like I don't think this game's going to be some kind of like smash hit or something.
You can never bank it.
I'm just stoked about whatever we're going to work on next now, because I'm hoping that this kind of gives us a little bit of like, you know, we've got over this steam hurdle,
right?
Albeit with a very strangely shaped horse, we are over.
Right. And it's, I mean, you guys are a small team, right? As the taking the Super Weeks out of the picture, it's three of you making the game elements, right?
Yeah.
Do you want to talk a little bit about first off, I mean, how did you guys come together to decide to do this in jam form as it evolved? And how did your roles, like, were they instantly divided, or did that kind of
when we started Team Lazerbeam up? Yeah, so Jason and I were in a more traditional band. It was a cinema rock band, which was mostly a music band, called Eyes Like Mirrors. I played like light with that band. I had like a visual guitar thing. Justin, have you seen this? Have you seen me doing this thing?
I don't think
no. Okay. I like jump around the stage and like shoot lights out of a keytar. It's very fun, and again confuses a lot of people.
That sounds
so.
amazing.
Jay and I played together in Isaac Mirrors for ages. They were going for a while as like a 3-piece, and then Jay saw me playing a show and came to me, and this is 2010. Was like, cool, do you want to like come play with our band? And played with them pretty much until the band ended on 2012 or 13. And then I moved to Cape Town, and then at pretty much the same time Jason moved to Cape Town. So we just started from when I started making games in 2014. I was always kind of working with Jay. We were just like, we did, I don't know how many games to get, like little jam games and stuff, but like a whole string of them. And then Rich, I only met around that time when he was doing Super Friendship Arcade, and that was the time Free Lives were working on Broforce. They were still, like a good 2 years or so away from launch back then. And I think Rich and I like really wanted to just do stuff with each other. You know, that's like weird creative attraction, or you just like meet someone and you're just like, ooh, we need to team up. And the first game that we actually made together was also with my my friend Matt McFarlane. It was Slam Dunk Tokalosh, or Child Ball, where you're like a weird monster slam dunking children into pots over flames. It was quite weird and not very Team Lazerbeamy, but it was Richard and I and Jason and Matt, but we were all like spread out. Jason was in Cape Town. Rich and I, I'm rambling. But basically, I thought Rich was cool and he thought I was cool, and we teamed up. And then where Team Lazerbeam was born proper was Let 'Em Dare 32, I think, which was December 2014. We made a game together called Bionic Bliss. And that was very much like the prototype. Again, we hadn't really found our voice or like our preferred style. It was still a bit cold and dark, not quite as cute and friendly. But it was weird and it sounded amazing. Like Jason killed it on the music.
Yeah, he always does.
When we were inside, he's just incredible. So I think it landed up coming second in audio in that Let 'Em Dare. And people liked the story and stuff. And the rest of the South African community was also just like quite supportive of this thing. They're like, yeah, Team Lazerbeam, like you guys should do it. And we're like, okay, cool, yeah, we should do it. And in terms of our roles, it also happened super organically. It's just like Rich is like a killer programmer.
Yeah.
And when we started, Jay and I couldn't do any of that stuff at all. Jason's leveled up a little bit over the years. I'm still garbage at it. And I like drawing stuff and writing things and throwing game design ideas at Richard and then be like, make this work, make it feel awesome. So like we very quickly, I guess, kind of found our instruments within the band. But it's also evolved quite a lot over time. Like Jason's landed up doing heaps and heaps more art and, design stuff and Unity work in the games. But primarily it's like, Jason does music and audio, Richard does code and feel, and I do art and words.
That's cool. I mean, it is a good trio. Like, it comes together really, really well. And I mean,
power trio.
Yeah, all three of you guys are individually very, very talented. You sell yourself a little short in the sell right there, but I think you've cultivated a really appealing art style. It's and it's not just the use of color and pastels and the fun, but the method of I've seen you working on stuff before, and it's like very hand, like because you use mostly tablet, right?
And it's super spontaneous. That's the main thing that I try to do, is to just with Team Lazerbeam specifically, because I've been drawing my whole life pretty much, and drawn at different points for different reasons. Like the most intense thing in recent years was I was doing like a science fiction horror comic called Red Air. It was like super detailed, and I was trying to convince everyone reading it that I could really draw, which I can't. So it was really tough, and I was like finding references of things and like just being super hard on myself the whole time doing it. And with Team Lazerbeam, it's like my intention is to go 100% in the opposite direction, to be like, just really just let stuff flow and be like, oh wow, that looks terrible, I love it, and just move on to the next thing.
Right. I'm having a little bit more fun in that vein these days. Like since shipping Sam, it's been like Jane and I have been working on the Karen Simulator game, and it's been like that was like a weekend jam project that is now turned into a couple weeks.
Yeah,
but it's
it must be
like
such a nice, like refreshing.
so good. To not really give a shit is really nice. Like just to be like, boom, like let's go.
Yeah.
Because I think, I mean, maybe you agree, maybe you don't. But overthinking things with art, not just visual art, but all forms of art, it really does get in the way.
It's like the enemy. It's like, and I'm really only realizing this so late in my life, but it's like that voice that tells you that like stuff isn't good enough or that you need to like labor over things is lying constantly. It's like when things actually just flow and you're not, that sense of self-judgment can actually be like switched off is really, I think, like that's totally like the ultimate space to kind of be able to work towards. But it's super hard because we have that little voice in our head and the outside world also being like, oh, this sucks. So it's like, whenever, people on the internet being like not getting at what you're doing at all. And you're like, oh, it sucks.
Yeah, it's worse. I think the negativity of the critique community, and I mean not just like critics themselves, but like everybody who is willing to be like, I hate this thing, I don't like this thing. It affects every single artist who comes across those things, because it's like, oh, even if I only marginally like this movie I see, and I've read this like scathing review, it like really puts in this like fear and self-doubt, and it is pretty hard to overcome.
Right?
Yeah, it builds a lot of anxiety, and as you said, it's kind of the enemy of freedom, which is what art is supposed to be about, I guess.
Totally right. No, and I think especially nowadays, I've been thinking about how people are going to be. This is going to be like an era where artistically people are kind of like paralyzed by the fear of doing something that's like dumb. And people are all dumb. People like our whole like back catalog of popular culture is like, for every like masterpiece and stuff that's out there, there's also elements of it that if you're going to pick it apart, like totally suck.
Right.
And like, like attitudes or assumptions that people could have that are like not, just really not great at all. It's like if they hadn't made this thing in the first place, the world would be a lot like worse, without it. But
I've been thinking a lot about that kind of thing actually, and I think you can defeat it by being absolutely like batshit abstract. Like, go ahead, try and pick it apart. You fucking can't. It doesn't even make sense. Like, good luck, idiot. And I see that coming forward in the meme culture, right? Like the youngest kids who are now posting content online. Like, God, it like it's nonsense. But I enjoy it.
And there's layers of abstraction that are like at play that are just like, And I want to see more of those kids making video games.
They will. We've had a couple conversations in the channel about the deep fried games that are going to come from the youngest. I mean, especially if they grew up with all the tools that we had to wait for. It's kind of exciting. But as somebody who hasn't grown up with total abstraction in the brain all the time, how do you defeat that anxiety personally and like get over the negativity that like surrounds creation, just so you can get to that freeform flow?
That's a good question.
What is your struggle? What's the secret?
I mean, it's really something that's been like at the forefront of my mind, like kind of recently. And like in the past, I mean, I think even with a lot of the old Team Lazerbeam games, if we were more critical about stuff, it would be totally different, or we wouldn't have even like made the thing in the first place. Like Wrestling with Emotions is like potentially like a weird game for the three of us to have made. It's like we could have upset people if we'd been dicks about it, and if we'd been overly paralyzed by the fear of potentially coming across as dicks, we just wouldn't have done it. We had like a I don't know, band practice or a jam or something like years ago where we were like arguing this thing back and forth of like how we were going to frame something. I don't remember what the thing in the game even was, but it was something that we were concerned about, like how we were going to put it across. And then Jason just said, it's not like we're dicks and assholes. And that's become kind of a motto for us. Like whenever we're in like some kind of like like moral dilemma about like what to do with stuff, we're like, it's not like we're dicks and assholes. We're not like out to be shit to people. We want to make stuff that makes people happy, and we want to present a world in our games that's cooler than the world we live in now. So that's kind of been like our guiding light with stuff, of being like, you know,
so like believing in the strength of your own character.
Yeah, we're good people, and we want to make games like for good people, you know. And we're still dorks and idiots, and we'll acknowledge that as well, you know. And we still, you know, like fuck shit up and have issues and stuff to work with. But like at its core, Team Lazerbeam is about the fact that the three of us are lovely, and we're making lovely games for lovely people. And you know, if you're going to take something out of this lovely game out of context and be like, oh, this is like really like, you know, shitty. It's like we're not dicks and assholes. We're not like, you know, but we're also totally capable of saying stupid things. Like in Wrestling with Emotions, you've got like a score kind of sheet for your dates. After you finish chatting to each of them, you can draw on the score sheet and tick off different boxes. And one of the boxes was lame. And recently saw a friend playing that, and he was like, that's not a word I say. And I was like, fuck. Yeah, that's pretty uncool then. But like I didn't know any better back then, and like, you know, if we were to update the game, that's something I would consider cutting out now. But like Mars was able to play it without being like Ben's like total trash because he used the word lame in his game.
Yeah, I mean, and that's at like a minutia level too. Like not to downplay the situation, but you know, it's the in this situation where it's a, you know, a bad use of a word, or you know, it's very different from having a whole character that where you're punching down on someone or a group of people or that kind of thing. There's a very different line, right?
No, totally. No, Evan and I did the game, The Third Dimension. Did you play that one? The educational
Third Dimension.
The Third Dimension, yeah. We made it for Print Screen Festival. Okay. It's part of a collection of games called the Bluff Collection. And that was super tough. That was like kind of like a criticism of like apartheid era like education system that was like very much intentionally designed to like hold the Black South African population back. Is just really pretty fucked, and it's sadly like the education system that's effectively been inherited by people now that over the last 26 years of democratic South Africa, people have still had like this leftover really shitty school system. So anyway, this like Evan and I wanted to make a game that kind of like took a jab at that kind of thing, and there's like a bad guy in that is some kind of like secret police kind of officer, and writing and recording that was super tough for me because it's like then you really do want to write someone that's an asshole,
right?
That's like my least favorite kind of person, and the kind of person that I would never myself want to be. It was really therapeutic to be able to kind of confront something like that, like through the game. And again, I would hope that like in the way that the game is framed, it comes across that we certainly are not cool with that kind of totalitarian fascist bullshit.
Yeah, no, I know exactly what you mean, because like especially with ASM, I had to go through a whole lot of that, writing really negative characters that are like accosting the player for things out of their control, and I had a lot of tough conversations about like, you know, this is a character, not a representation of my beliefs or the game's beliefs or whatever. And I mean, thankfully with fiction, you have the ability to like, you know, give just desserts and make everything right within the narrative. But it can be hard. It can be hard to like Jane and I had this long conversation about the Karen game, right? Like, we really didn't want to make a game that was just like, haha, angry lady is angry, because that's like, I know 3 years, 4 years from now we're gonna look back on that and be like, did we really do that? So there's it's been the struggle, and again, this is the maybe the other side of that, like, don't just be completely freeform or whatever. I guess the completely freeform version of myself is just like, let's just go, haha, angry lady, angry, ha ha ha.
Yeah.
But
you need to have some sense of a filter of like
nuance, and like, so we started like discussing like, okay, how does a person end up like this? And that's kind of where we started going with that. I slapped my forehead earlier because I just Googled trying to find the game, and I just Googled the third dimension and got Google trying to teach
you about
the third dimension.
The basics. Wow.
Yeah.
You want me to send you a link for that?
Yeah, sure. Drop it in the chat if you can, or I'll take it through Discord and we can share it around.
I'll drop it in there.
And High Camp Survivor, yes, Team Lazerbeam are amazing. Are amazing. Yeah, you've had a couple fans show up in the chat, which is really nice. Yeah.
Cool. That's probably some of the lovely people from our Discord as well.
Right on. How has it been? So we talked a little bit before the show about building community and that kind of thing. We kind of just like one day turned on our Discord, and like slowly people just started finding us and congregating, and then but what was the process for you guys?
So we set up a Discord very recently, knowing that Teenage Blob was coming up, and we were like, oh, this is the thing people do, right? They make Discord servers for their games or their studios. So we created like a public Discord quite recently, and I didn't know Discord at all. So I basically like taught myself, trying to figure out like, how the hell does this work? What are you supposed to put in this thing?
Right.
But yeah, I think we came up with like a pretty cool solution. We have like fan-made emojis and a space where people can draw each other's pets and stuff. And it's fun being able to share like weird stuff from the vaults as well, of like old, like recently Richard found this terrible drawing I made for Snow Cones 1 where you get to feed the human. It just looks like insane. It's rad being able to share that stuff with people and have people that are around and stoked for it. Like, we've been so surprised and super encouraged by like the people that we've had join up. They're just like rad people like us, the kind of people that we're making the game for, right? And it's just like seeing we're putting good vibes out, and other people are coming back to us with their own good vibes, and it's just it's very satisfying.
Yeah, it's been having I mean, I guess it is a form of social media, but a form of social media that one is kind of like, your little tribe. It was super pivotal for us finishing our game, and then like afterwards,
with, like, people
no, not helping so much, but just like we went through a long dark period of like no contact with our fans whatsoever, to suddenly like having conversations and like hearing support from people, and that kind of like really helps you push through in a way that I don't think Twitter or Facebook really do, because those are all very like shouty platforms, and not so much like, haha, here's some dumb memes we're gonna share to each other.
And the fact that you've curated or created your own community, it's
right.
there's way more of a shared sense of like, we're a little gang here, which I think is really nice. That you don't have that when it's just like open internet social media madness, where like any weirdo can just stumble across like what's going on and totally ruin everyone's fun times.
Does Ben want the Discord link? Yeah, Mitch, just drop the Discord link for them, so we can get more people in the Lazerbeam Discord and joining your great community.
Yay!
As we ramp up for launch and get hype.
I'm trying to find our chat. Oh, there we are.
Oh, there. Okay. Yeah.
I made the Thingy the Bluff collection as well.
Okay. This is what is the? Oh, this is the one. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have any so how much more work do you guys have to do in the last week? Like for the process of people who don't know.
Oh, it's so ridiculous.
So
we made life so hard for ourselves.
Okay.
We made life so hard for ourselves because of the record and the zine and the hot sauce. I mean, I don't know. This is also because it's the first time I'm like launching a game that I've worked on in some full-time capacity, like very new to me. Rich was saying by his experience compared to like previous games he's worked on, it feels the most chill and like serene and calm. But I was around for the final days of Broforce as well, so I know that doesn't mean anything good because like, you know, they had a really wild like push at the end and. Yeah, so the space that we're in now, in terms of what we have to do, well, I can speak more, I guess, about what I have to do, because it's already a pretty long list, never mind everyone else. But Richard basically has to get the game donezo's that we're happy with it. We still haven't got like, the Steam thumbs up from them yet, so I think we're potentially already playing with fire here.
Make sure, okay, pro tip, make sure you push that damn button. To get the approval started in time, because we didn't do that for Sometimes Always Monsters, and then we had to like email people in a panic, like day of, because we skipped a whole like review process on Steam because we just didn't. It takes like tonight. Make sure that you've pushed all the right buttons, please.
So we've submitted it to them, but it says the earliest potential launch is the 11th.
Okay.
Which means that if they flag anything that's not cool, we're kind of screwed.
I mean, have you seen what's on Steam these days?
Yeah, I hope everything's fine. We've sent them like approval versions a couple times, and they've like sent some stuff back. So we've been having like, it's been a process that is freaking me out, to be totally honest. Like it's absolutely freaking me out. But aside from that, like everything else will be fine. I want to still like make some art bits look better, like little things that have been bothering me or that have been on my to-do list. So there's a little bit of art stuff that I need to do, but for the most part from my side, it's like getting all the art together as well for the physical release, because I'm still finishing off the vinyl sleeve and stuff, and the t-shirts, 3 t-shirts. And then like marketing it and getting people stoked, and that whole process, like that's mostly fallen on, or not fallen on, but that's something I've been pretty stoked to take on a lot more of. So yeah, I have a very colorful and cool to-do list. I don't know where it is. That's behind me. But like, yeah, I've been trying to sort of like stagger percentages of how much of my time I put into different things. Yeah. Which is helping me. This is all again so new to me. It's like I'm such a disorganized person, and like I've always just kind of been like a whirlwind of like, you know, doing stuff, and slowly over time I've been getting more and more into making lists and planning stuff out. And then last year when I started doing therapy, actually started realizing I was like, hey, I've been telling myself I'm like garbage at this stuff my whole life, and I'm actually can be like super well organized and have like a really good head for this kind of thing. Right. So since having that realization, I'm like rewriting my Ben story now, and I'm like totally the lists guy and the planning guy and the goals and, you know, all these things I've been like aggressively against for ages.
Well, see, but that's the thing. If you've been aggressively against it for ages, you know, you've gotten good under pressure with procrastination, I presume. You know, once you finally add lists and schedules and producery stuff to your repertoire, suddenly you're like boom, 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 boom. I'm ace.
Yeah. No, and that's totally been the experience of with Teenage Blob. A combination between like having just good plans that we can execute, and also just having that like sense of spontaneity. That like I've been able to do, like, you know, like a little 1-minute video or something that like back in the day would have taken 2-3 weeks to like labor over creating this thing, and now I'll do it between like 1 and 4 a.m. and like by the end I'm like really rad and I'm really happy with it. And I could have spent more time like doing twice as many animation frames or something, but it wouldn't have it wouldn't have made it necessarily better or anything, and I got the thing done.
Right.
So that's been super satisfying, like just feeling like we're just churning. You know, by the time I could chat to you next week, I will have finished making a hot sauce design, a vinyl sleeve, like 3 t-shirt designs, and put a video game out.
It's
And
a good
makes
week.
everything blows up.
If only every week could be like that.
Yeah.
No, I'm really excited. It's this is the biggest launch you guys have had. What are your after launch plans? Like, are you guys just gonna go chill, or?
I can't wait to start on the next thing. I'm like really rearing to go. Yeah, I'm gonna need a chill though. Like my face, I'm getting the most weird like facial tension. Have you ever had that?
In your jaw? Do you clench your jaw?
Kind of, yeah. Like my jaw, my cheeks. Apparently, it's a thing. Like if people are stressed out, it's like because of your fight or flight syndrome. I mean, fight reflex. You know, you're like your body tenses up and it's like ready for like action. So if you're stressed for long periods, apparently you can get achy face. I didn't know this, but I'm now suffering from it. So I definitely need to just like spend a lot of time lying around in hot water or something and just like chilling out. But I can't wait to start on the next game. Like now that we've kind of seen behind the curtain of like how it works to get some money from people to make a video game, I'm like, I can do this. Like, you know, like I was before we made this jump into Team Lazerbeam, doing a lot of making trailers for other people and helping other people sell their games. We made a lot of spots that I'm super proud of, but it was kind of like me adapting my sensibility to try and make someone else look cool. And now that it's just me being able to like make my own stuff and not needing to have this sort of like filter or like translation in like the aesthetic or ideas, and I can just run with it. I'm super excited to like put together something like Racing with Emotions 2 or, you know, Snow Cones 3 or one of the other things we've been like planning out, and like I do it really proper.
And so, I mean, like ideally, then this is where it goes from here. It's just project.
Hopefully.
the dream of never-ending work.
I just, for me, really personally, it's like I feel like I found like my purpose for real. I've done so many different creative things in different fields, and it was so like unfocused and wild, and I had so much fun DJing and running a record label and playing in different bands and, you know, like doing all these different things, but there was never any like sense of like it like progressing into something. And then when I started with games, it was like suddenly all these threads just started tying together. Like, you know, music is like a part of this thing, but there's also this interactive aspect to it, and I'm getting to do a bunch of writing, and I'm getting to do art. Like all these things that like previously seemed like, you know, desperate are suddenly now like working towards one same thing. And once we started with Team Lazerbeam, it was like that same kind of thing. It's just like I'm with two of my favorite people in the universe, and we're getting to make stuff that makes other people feel happy. It's just like, okay, cool. This is it now. This is all I want to do.
This is why it's the best art form. I'm not throwing shade on painters, but games are it.
Sorry, interpretive dance.
Yeah, sorry, got nothing on games.
No, but like really, games can bring them all in. I think that's the thing. There's no rad art form that can't become a part of like the gamosphere, which is really exciting. And obviously, I guess it can be a tough sell sometimes, you know.
Right.
Like in our case now with the game band thing, people are like, game band? What the hell? You can't be a game band. It's like, yeah, we can. We're a game band, damn it.
Yeah. I'm really excited. I'm really happy that you've reached this place.
Thanks.
And I can't wait for launch. I can't wait to see all of the success and praise you guys get after launch. And I can't wait to see. It's coming. Don't worry about it.
Oh my gosh, we're gonna get crucified when we're like, it's only 27 minutes long. These people are the worst.
No, it's it doesn't matter. If you put enough heart and soul into something, right? Like, then it flies. And I think you guys have definitely always done that with your stuff, and it really is starting to show with Teenage Blob. And most of all, I'm excited to see the evolution of Team Lazerbeam after this. Like,
yeah, totally. Action figures, here we come. Like, taking it to the next level.
Very, very fun and very cool.
Yeah.
For anybody who joined in super late, do you want to give them one more roundabout on what they can expect if they pick up Teenage Blob next week on the 13th?
Sure. So if you grab Teenage Blob next week on the 13th on Steam, itch.io, or Bandcamp, you will be getting 6 games and 6 songs. 6 songs by the music band, the Super Weeks, 6 games by our video game band, Team Lazerbeam. They hop around between a bunch of different genres. There's bits of dating sims and arcade games and rhythm games and RPGs all mushed together into one very messy but very sincerely cute, weird thing. The end.
All right. I'll drop the link one more time. There's the Steam page. Go wishlist it now so you get notified on launch day.
Please do that. That'll be around.
Yeah, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on.
I
know your time is super limited as you're so close to launch, and it's a wildly different time zone. You are up very late now.
Yeah, it's 2 in the morning.
I'm sorry.
This is my prime. I'm gonna do some great work now. No, I'm feeling very inspired and happy. My face doesn't hurt too much.
Right.
So I'm gonna do some great stuff now and dedicate it to you, Justin.
Oh, so be still my heart. All right, gang. I'm gonna throw it on the post show. Everybody, thank Ben for coming on. Don't forget to wishlist the game.
Everyone.
I'll see you all probably tomorrow during the day. If not, I'll be on the weekends doing more Karen Sim development because we got a game to get done too. Yeah, lovely having you. We'll say any final shout outs or goodbyes.
Well, yeah, farewell. Shout out to everyone that helped us out on this freaking Teenage Blob, because it's a ton of people. There's like, I reckon, well over a dozen people that performed from the Super Week side on all the music. And all the lovely people that helped us translate the game into all the different languages. The awesome people from Super Hot, Tom, Callum, Micah, Gwen, Pop Agenda, all our lovely people. Shout out to you. Love you. Appreciate you. And all the nice people for watching. This was really fun.
Yeah, I had a great crowd. You have a couple fans showed up in the thing. They've been shouting good. And thank you all for following, by the way. I do game dev stuff here and chats like this, and we have a lot of fun. So feel free to come on back anytime, and we'll have fun. And looks like we finished 2 Super Weeks album in the process of this. So let's say
cool.
We'll say goodbye for now, and I'll figure out the raid in a minute, gang. All right, bye.
Bye everyone. Bye.